welcome. It's your boy Carcino for life, and you are just in time for the NBA Circus. That's right. The National Basketball Association is what they call it. Welcome. It's your boy Carcino for life. Don't forget to hit that like button. Hit that like button off the rip. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here and hit that notification bell. Hopefully you got this notification. They probably will not because it says NBA. Oh, they don't like me talking about the NBA, do they? And they saying, oh, this is going to get them to stop. Nah, it won't. Nah. Try again. I won't stop. Now, because of the CBA agreement that was last done, we're going to talk about things that they don't talk about on these sports shows. Every week they're talking about, well, LeBron and Jordan and LeBron and Kobe and LeBron and LeBron and LeBron and the Lakers and Kawhi and the Laws and the club. They're never telling you about what's really going on. That's why people who know better come here. We're going to tell you what's going on behind the tent. And this is the reason why they're after me, because I'm exposing what's happening under the tent. I'm taking away the attention. Everybody's supposed to look at the dancing monkey and pay attention to the circus. But you're missing what's happening underneath the tent. All the superstars, because of the former CBA contract, can earn more than ever. But see, now the owners and the players are quickly finding out. Well, they've already found out. That's not what it was meant to be. And that's why this CBA coming up is going to be the most important one in history. Now, due to COVID, they could use this as an excuse, as a bargaining to lower the players' contracts considerably. Now, imagine if somebody told you Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, and Jimmy Butler, all of these guys were Supermax players. You would fall out. If they told you that a year ago, Gordon Hayward is a Supermax player, you kidding me? And now, since Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, everybody has started to go crazy and start making teams because they said, well, that's how we're going to win the championship. We just got to do what Golden State did and take Kevin Durant like they did, and now they were even better than before. A lot of them found out that don't work. Now, so many NBA caliber players change teams in a calendar year, right? These are all what they call all NBA caliber. Back in 2016, oh, it was happening. Kyrie and Kevin Durant found new homes. After that 2000, after Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving left the very next year, and that was the big deal. Gordon Hayward, he left. That was a really big deal at the time. And now what you have is you created something that's very abnormal that is now the new norm, because people on video games They play the game that way. They'll take some players and put them on teams that they don't belong to, mix them up and make super teams, but then complain when it's done in the league only when the person that they want to win don't win. And now when they're getting ready to negotiate a new CBA, which is a collective bargaining agreement, and with the cap boom from 2 years ago, which created that big, you know, fake bubble, fake atmosphere because of the overpriced by Ballmer. Now the NBA executives, they don't think this is going to go back. Pandora isn't going back into the box. And everybody's going to suffer going forward. And in 2014, LeBron James, he wanted to push for a removal of max contracts. That's what the whole rumor was back in 2014. You know, Kevin Durant and Kobe Bryant also supported that idea. You know, and the league superstars don't make as much as they probably should. But such a drastic change will open the door for a player to earn more money than every other player on his team combined. See, Michael Jordan did that, where he had what they call constituted as the Larry Bird deal. Bird was the first one to do it. They called it the Larry Bird contract, where they had a special contract that they made just for Larry. And they paid Larry Bird what they wanted to pay Larry Bird. It wasn't structured under a cap. And same thing when Michael Jordan came back to the Bulls, he made sure it was going to be something massive. He was not going to come back and play for peanuts. He made about 33 million. Well, it was prorated, but he was basically paid supposedly get 50 million each season. You know, of course, Ryan Doris didn't want to do that, but with the taxes and everything and the way it was constructed, it came out to 33.1. So the NBA instituted a max contract after this. You know, this is after the 97-98. So the max contract was introduced, and it has been in place ever since. So instead of abolishing a max altogether, the players' union winded up negotiating some changes. And what the changes that they did is they set some possible arrangements for free agency where a rookie could earn up to 25% of the cap, and some rookies and veterans can earn up to like 30% if they hit a certain criteria. And certain players, if they hit like certain qualifications, they're eligible for what they call the veterans player extension, or what we call the supermax, which can be up to 35% of the cap, but it can be given by the team that drafted the player. Okay? The latter two that we were just talking about are similar to the previous CBA already. So the Supermax is now a brand new creation. Okay, but the new menu of max offering isn't exactly, working as everybody thought it is, when they first drew it up. Now, this was from the owner's point of view, was to help the team keep a star player on their team and giving them greater financial incentive to stay. This is why it was created. That's why if they say, hey, if you stay with the team, you can get this much more money. Why would you walk away from $50 million, but you're seeing players walk away from an additional $50 million, an additional 60? You'd be like, what? That still ain't making you stay with the team? See, that's what they thought the Supermax was going to do, but it didn't do that for them. So they preventing other scenarios like Kevin Durant going to the Warriors. They wanted to stop stuff like that, right? Paul George going to the Clippers, Hayward and Kyrie when they got together and all this stuff. But this didn't meet the qualifications for the Supermax. You know, Gordon Hayward walked from Utah, and they were offering a year of financial security, an extra year. The Kings didn't want to pay Boogie more than $200 million, so they traded him. Right? Blake Griffin only got 30% of the cap, and he was injured. It was a financial risk for the Clippers, and they weren't willing to take it. So they were like, "Look, we got to trade him." Now, even because you can, earn all that money from the team that drafted you, the owners don't want to spend it, nor that players will want to take it. So the biggest issue is that signing these big deals have made it tremendously difficult to build a title contending team around the player. You see what I'm saying now? Where has a Supermax deal ever been beneficial to that player? That he had the pieces around him to win the NBA championship. This year you got Giannis and AD both finna get Supermax contracts. The only one that has a shot really to winning an NBA championship to me in that situation is Giannis. Because they already was a clear, legitimate number one team when they were playing on all cylinders. When it was an actual, a post-COVID situation. They were clearly the best team in the league. They didn't perform well in the bubble, but a lot of people didn't. Now, a lot of people were upset that Blake Griffin, with all he's done, you know, Blake was injured all the time and he's injury prone and all of these different things. And, he wanted the 171 million, he had 39 million was supposed to come to him when he was 32, and the Clippers said, sorry, we're not going to do that. So they dealt him to Detroit. Now Detroit got to find a way out of it. And it cleared up more money for them to put them in a better position. Now look at the Wizards. John Wall has been hurt all these years, and he will make, when it's said and done, he'll make about 169 million. That was a contract that was player friendly, that Rich Paul and his team seen and negotiated. So he'll get $46 million, almost 47 when he's 31. So he's got money coming in that's going to take care of him for the rest of his life. Now, look at Chris Paul. This is why it's so hard to move Chris Paul. Who wants to trade for a point guard that's going into the twilight of his career, and you're going to have him on your books for 33 and 36 million for the last two years of his contract? Are you serious right now? Well, it's hard to move John Wall. John Wall can't be traded. Washington is stuck with John Wall. You see, this is what we were talking about the circus. Welcome to it. So hopefully you guys are getting this education and you guys are moving on forward so that you guys get to see it firsthand. See, the new lucrative television deals that they signed for influx of money, where the players voted against what they call smoothing, the steady climbing in the teams and available cap space. They wanted one large spike. As the result, the cap took a historic jump from 70 million to 94 million. And they have leveled it off. Now the cap is like over 100 million. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? 2015-16, it went to 94 million because y'all wanted that. So for the owners, it really hasn't panned out. So you're going to see more trades. You're going to see players go from here to there. You're going to see all of this shifting, and it is not good for the NBA. The Supermax didn't work. And because of people like LeBron James who want to bounce from team to team, they try to make it look like it's a good thing because they market LeBron. They're in the business of LeBron. So when you're in the business of LeBron, this comes along with it. So definitely, like I said, hit the like button for this. Hit the like button for this. Because this is information they're not going to give you on Fox. This is not information they're going to give you on ESPN. This is not information they're going to give you on none of these other shows. This is the information you get from Carcino. Because they don't have the balls to tell you this information. They don't want you to learn anything about what's going on behind the scenes. They don't want you to know what happens behind that tent. They don't want you to know about the execs and the agents who believe the rise and the trades of all the stars is ruining everything, and the teams are more gouging, the value of their own teams and their own centerpieces, and they're making more calls than ever to try to keep people, and all these players now are got to be traded because they don't want to be stuck with a player that they can't build around and have a winning franchise. And then most of these players who are available for these contracts are not really superstars or marketable anyway. You're like, okay, he's good, but he's not a superstar and he's up for a supermax? Like, get out of here. Who's going to do that? You? I don't know who's going to be that fool. Now, we know the NBA's in trouble. Oh, they're going to lie and tell you that everything is roses, but they're in trouble. Teams like the Detroit Pistons, the Sacramento Kings, the Atlanta Hawks, these teams are in trouble. Even the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic is in trouble. It's not about wins and losses. It's more about butts and seats. These teams are not on television a lot, so they don't get a lot of the cable television and all of that revenue because their teams are so bad, really, that they don't even put them on television as much. Even though they have a superstar player and Trae Young, the NBA is going to want to move him. His team and agency are going to want to move him to a bigger market, bigger money, bigger opportunity for the player, not necessarily for the team. No matter if the team is willing to do right by him and try to build around him. It's just hard to do that when you got to supermax everybody, right? It's kind of hard to build a cohesive team. Unless you LeBron and everybody start throwing you players. Oh, it's LeBron? Oh, yeah, let's do that ridiculous trade. It makes no sense. Yeah, you take all my good players and y'all give us one draft pick 6 years from now. Yeah, that's fair. Listen, I'm about the game. And if it makes basketball sense, then it makes sense. I'm not here to bash LeBron. I'm here to tell you guys the truth about the game. If you don't want to hear it, that's fine. Go watch some other Joe Blow people that's gonna just sugarcoat some garbage and give it to you. That's cool. Do that. I would much rather you get that information from them giving you what you want to do. Because some people want to stay in the matrix. They want to be dumb, deaf, and blind. This is for people that want to know. You see, basketball and baseball, MLB, they kind of connected. Because they had the same problem. So what they're going to have to do is correct the market. Right? One sec. What do you mean, Sino? Correct the market. What does that mean? Well, much like what's going on in Major League Baseball, like I told you, uh, see, agents believe that players are worth a number similar to an enormous dollar amount because, of course, it helps their bottom line and their pockets out. While teams claim they've reached budgets and things of that, and they got limited money to spend. There's no salary cap in baseball. So it's not exactly like the NBA, who got what they call the soft cap. But players see a significant dip in earnings when it comes to the offseason. Oh, yeah. We're going to see some dips. You see, teams are massively overpaid, like some of the players. A lot of contracts are like that. And they look like bargains. And if teams are smart, they'll only truly, the special players, be given the max money. Then there'll be an opportunity where you will have to recalibrate what a player is worth. Now, no agent in their right mind wants to see a market correction. They don't want to see that. That means that their money is up for grabs. That means teams will be thriving more than just player. That means some of the players might actually have to stay with the team. That means the upper contracts like the Orlando Magic for what's his name, Fortier, and what's his name, B.O. Bimbo, whatever his name is, B.I.M.B.O. There's a lot of free cap space to spend on those two. Now, when you get to like seeing giving them tax exemptions, which could be currently worth about 8 million or nearly 10 million in the coming years, you could re-sign players using the Larry Bird deal, and using all these different creative ways. But executives altogether want to avoid any kind of deals like that. Because, see, the dollar amounts for all of these deals are already, is like a greater incentive for them to just target the younger, cheaper players and fill out a roster with them. You see, what we call it is the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics had nobody making really more than $6 million before they got Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. They got all the way before they got Kyrie and before they got Gordon Hayward. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals Game 7. Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals. Then they went and spent the money. And they haven't been back. Well, they just left the Eastern Conference Finals. But they were in a better position last time in Game 7. And they were minus those two guys. They're big heavyweights. They're rookies and second-year players. Took LeBron and his veteran team to 7 games. Now, the Blazers, the Timberwolves, the Bucks, these teams could lose flexibility in the future. Because the Bucks will have to pay Giannis, and once they pay Giannis the supermax, they're gonna start losing some of these guys that they have, like basically on 1-year deals. What they were doing was getting a bunch of 1-year guys and trying to build around making those 1-year guys superstars, getting them to the next level. So by this COVID situation hitting it and turning this to a short turnaround, it's a lot of things that's making it look like a carousel. And people might be doing a temporary extension just so they can get through this next year or whatever that's coming up, because they don't know what's happening. Like here in Chicago, we're right back on a lockdown. So November is getting ready to hit in about a couple of days. So then we're 1 month from being out of 2020, which seemed like it went faster than water. So now we're out of 2020, heading to 2021. What is going to be the new norm? What is going to be the new, okay, this is the way to go from here? All of these things are going to come to the forefront. I told you years ago that this, when the CBA comes back, all of this stuff is going to blow up and we're headed for another strike. I was telling you that, but now they can't strike. Can't be headed to another strike now because just COVID hit. So that's going to weaken a lot of people's positions, and the owners might have a stronger position now. But the players could say, hey, we prepared to sit out. And with the COVID situation, they probably like, look, we used to it. We'll stay at home. Because the NBA, when they start up, they got to start looking at, when we do temporary seatings, or so many people could sit there in the seats, because concessions, you got to think about the concessions. People who work concessions that's not working right now. I know a person that worked in concessions. They got another job. Another person is unemployed right now. Has been unemployed for 3 months, and they just can't find another job right now. It's scarce. Like everybody is like no job. It's really hard. So it's rough out there. So it's when you talk about the NBA not coming back and all of these different things, you got to think about all the other people that lost money, like the vendors. And why aren't some of these owners continually paying these people salaries to keep them on board? Because some just went and had to get another job. They got to feed their families. And I understand that. So why can't they? But, it is what it is. Hopefully you guys got this notification, man. Don't forget to hit that like button. My Cash App is Carceno, Carceno. This was going to be a Patreon video, but I said, let me give it to you guys here. You guys, were my day ones. So I'm going to let y'all have this one. The Carceno for Life Patreon is loaded anyway, so we got a lot of stuff coming. Stuff I got to push back to November because we got hit with, just some breaking stuff coming in. So I was like, man, I'm going to just have to push this to November then. So don't forget, if you're new here, subscribe to the page, hit the like button, the notification bell, and we out.